All right, direct from Hawaii to Los Angeles. Aloha, David. How are you?
Aloha. How you doing, Mark? Good to
Much,
see you, brother.
much better now. I was in New York for 2 weeks before this. I'm back in my bubble in Hermosa Beach, and I can tell you're having just as much fun in Hawaii with the weather there. So,
Yep, nice and sunny, 80 degrees and light offshore winds right off the water. It's beautiful.
yeah, I know. I visit winter now. I don't live in it anymore ever, and so that's my motto. Also, visit winter. Welcome to the Leaders Who Care series, and we were recently introduced, but I really got it was like you had me at hello type of deal with the stuff that you're doing and the impact that I think you have made or are going to make. And but let's start with introducing yourself. And I have to put an asterisk beside this for guys especially, because when I say introduce yourself, they usually start with what they do. Tell me a little bit about where you're from initially, where you mostly live now, whatever you feel comfortable talking about, family and stuff. Maybe something you've never told anybody and you want to reveal to the world now. That's usually kind of cool. So tell me a little bit about you.
Um, I live out here in Hawaii on the North Shore of Oahu. I have three kids and a beautiful wife, and I moved here 32 years ago, but I've been back and forth the mainland a few times. I got derailed, but this is kind of where I call home. I've lived here longer than anywhere else. And I currently run a roofing company that operates in multiple states in America. One office out of Texas and one office out of Honolulu that kind of takes care of the island chain, which would be mostly Big Island, Maui, mostly Oahu and Kauai.
My favorite, Kauai. I've been there in Maui and the Big Island and all that. They're all beautiful, but Kauai is my favorite. Personal level one type of thing. How old are your kids, if I can ask?
So kids are 22, 18, and 17, or just turned 19. Sorry, I have three sons. My oldest son just got back from a service mission for our church for 2 years out of Arizona.
Hmm.
My middle child is here in Maui with me right now, working on a big project as a safety director. And then my baby is full time MMA and surfing. So he'll be leaving to Fiji for another surf trip. And I sponsor him, and his dream is to be a pro surfer and pro. He wants to be in the UFC. And so we've got him a coach, and he does trains twice a day and surfs and does chores around the house. That's the baby.
Nice. I got three sons too. I told my sons they can do whatever they want when they grow up. I got my CPA in accounting because I didn't know what else I wanted to do, except I knew I didn't want to do that, but I did it anyways because I said you can do anything you want when you grow up. Just don't become an accountant and become a professional hockey player. Other than that, you can do whatever you want. So the two younger ones did really good in hockey, not pro, but they did really good in hockey, and I'm fortunate with having three sons too. It kind of leads me to a segue there a little bit. When you were growing up, what were you like? When you were like 10, 11, 12, and then into your teenagers, what was David all about?
Um, well, I was I've always been fun. I've always loved to have fun. I was always an interesting, very outgoing class clown type, um, uh, individual. I loved to be entertaining and talk to people and gain friendships and stuff. But I definitely was angry because I moved around a lot. Like I moved 27 times by the time I was 18, and so I was going through it. But the teenage years were very, very interesting. I mean, I lived in probably four different states during that time, and like I said, I moved around a bunch, and so it was always a challenge to kind of get a footing on things. It's something I was very, very angry until about into my late 20s, early 30s, and it just dawned on me. My brain was like, wow, this didn't happen to me, it happened for me. I started hug, hug, kiss, kiss my parents, like, thank you so much for making me a gypsy, because I went everywhere, I met everybody. I learned despair. I learned what it was like to lose relationships. I learned what it was to make relationships. I learned how fluid life can be, how anything can change on a hinge, and you have to be able to be willing to accept your plight and be able to correct courses and make changes, and it was just insane. It was crazy.
Did you find yourself, and we'll get into the entrepreneurship in a little bit, did you find yourself with a lemonade stand, or were you playing Lego, or were you combat men, or what were you doing?
No, actually, I when I was 12 years old, I started selling weed, believe it or not. And I had the whole high school. I mean, I was just coming into junior high and elementary, junior high. Unfortunately, that sounds terrible. It was terrible, but I wasn't a big druggie, but I was a businessman, and that was the crowd I was with, and I had great clientele, and then when I sobered up, that moved right into business. But I did really really well as a young little lad, and I ended up I was on the like I said I was in youth corrections for 4.5 years, and so I had a very troubled teen era. But at a young age, when I was 14, I started doing roofing and and various different things, and I had one experience that kind of I decided I didn't want to have anything to do with drugs. As I come from a family of 13 kids, and I love children. I love families. It's always, no matter how far down some windy road I went, if there was a family anywhere, I was always willing to help. And because my mom went through so much raising 13 kids, she has 47 grandkids, by the way. And I remember
That
going to
must
this.
be killer around Christmas. Man, what do
Yeah,
you
yeah,
do?
no,
What do you do?
I get in trouble because I don't know. I forget their names, and we have. It's like the United Nations. So many siblings have married different people from different countries, and I just smile and wave, and they're so beautiful and so wonderful. And you slowly start to memorize their names, but
You do
uh,
what George Foreman did. George one, George two, George three.
exactly. That guy's brilliant. But unfortunately, they're not my kids, or I would have named them all number one, number two, number three, and so on. But yeah, I think I was 16 years old, and I was going to sell some drugs, some stuff, and I can't remember what it was, but I just remember this was really impactful for me. And I go into this apartment, and there's this single dad, and we were talking, and he mentioned that his wife was in jail and blah blah. And there was these two little kids. One was asleep, and one was drinking a bottle on the couch. And he had just got the couch, and he was short on buying stuff from me. And he said, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna go put my kids in the back room. Can I give you my couch?" And I remember I was so infuriated that I was a part of this, that I walked out, and that was the end. That was like when just was like, I'm done. I can't be a part of this. This isn't my character. This isn't who I am. I can't. And I lost it on the guy. I remember yelling at him. I was like, "You sell that couch, I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna get you. Don't you sell that couch. That couch is for the kids. Don't even think about it. We're out of here." So that was kind of like a big turning point for me. I was like, no way am I going to be a part of this scene. Um, but yeah, I ended up through all that trouble. I mean, I got locked up 12 times, went to four different youth programs, and I was it was hard because I grew up all over Southern California and these other places all over California, but I was a surfer, and there's no ocean in Utah, and it was just a real, man, I just got it. Other parents, I probably swore a lot more than I should. I had a terrible mouth, and I was the ruffian California kid, like labeled, and I met a Tongan kid. He was my best friend, and I finally got a footing where we weren't moving around, and I had a real best friend. And he moved back to the North Shore of Oahu, and to a town called and on the northeast side called Haula, and they taught my parents talked to POs and the judge, and they're like, "Dude, get Dave out of the state of Utah." And so I was able to come here, get off probation, and kind of was my starting point to really move forward. And I went back into my blood memories because my dad was a facilitator and worked with Stephen Covey, who wrote the book Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. So I excelled in these programs I went to. I was like, bam, I would go to a program. I was friends with the director. I was helping run all the student leadership. I would go to these lockup facility programs, and they would be like, "Why is this kid here?" Right? Because I had the knowledge and my parents poured it into my brain, but I was like, "I don't want to be here. What do I got to do to get out?" boom. So I had that knowledge inside me and it kind of served me through. And then when I came out and started kind of finding myself in Hawaii, I was like, wow. And I just slowly but surely, all those same blood memories came back, from paradigm shifts to mindset to Napoleon Hill. I mean, as a kid, my dad was driving a PCH in his Corvette, jamming Jim Rohn. I mean, Jim Rohn was like philosophy. The creditors are calling, pennies in the bank. We're talking tapes, original tapes, and that stuff was just poured into my brain. So I think is what's crazy as parents and mentors, we talk about things and we don't realize how much the effect we are having with our speech and our words when we're around young minds or around people. It is
You're
so
talking, you're talking my,
powerful.
you're talking my love language, man. I mean, I was just on the phone with a pro hockey player, because we're doing stuff in sports and stuff, and I talk about this a lot when I speak to, it could be one moment in time, or there's an expression, it only takes one person to believe in you and you'll hang on to it. And there is such an impact when we're young, even if it's an athlete that the young kid goes up and says, can I have your autograph? And the guy says, sure, I'd love to, or screw off, I'm busy, can make an impact at that point.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it was, I think it was, I was the judge had just put me in youth corrections custody. I was facing being gone for about 6 months. And I mean, at age 15 for a young kid, that's not an easy sentence. And not only that, the judges basically says, you're a warden of the state of Utah. You are no longer,
Mm.
we're in charge of you. And I looked at my mom, my mom's crying. But anyway, they locked me up. And right before I left, they come knock on my cell. They're like, "Hey, you got a visitor." And this is just before I got shipped off down to the southern Utah. We were living up by Salt Lake, and I go, in a waiting room, and here comes my mom, and my mom comes in, and I'm trying to explain to her all my excuses, right? I got my speech down just right, and um, my mom comes in, and she stops me, and she kind of shushes me. She says, "Come here," and she gave me this big warm hug.
Right.
And she has this thing where she grabbed my face and she clasped my face. Happened on more than one occasion. And she said, "David, I don't care what your excuse or what you did. I want you to know that you are so incredible. You're an amazing human, and you have so much talents and gifts in you. Get this through you and go to the moon. You can do anything you want to, and I love you. And there's nothing you can ever do that will stop me from loving you." And it was like, I was like, wow. Because I was down, and I was like, dude, my mom believes in me, and she's one of my most favorite people in the world. Like, she believes in me. I can do this. And the crazy thing is, as young kids from age like dream, I mean, you think of a little kid,
Yeah.
Mark, they're like, what do you want to do? I'm going to the moon. I'm going to climb Everest. I'm going to be in the NFL. I'm going to be a pro, whatever, right? And they dream, and that's beautiful. And then what happens is, over 10,000 times until they come to accountability, they've been told, stop that, don't do that, you can't do that, no, don't touch that, no, don't. And it's a brain track. Now, it might be them touching the stove or running in the street or doing something they shouldn't, but it's our communication needs to be eye level with young people and say, you know what? This is why we're going to make a better decision. I've said to my sons hundreds of times, make a better decision instead of no.
Right.
Let's make a better decision. What's the better decision? What's the better decision? Then they start negotiating in their mind, because when you come out of a dream state and you're coming into accountability, you're like, oh, I'm going to start that job. I'm going to start that dream job, or I'm going to build this business, or you know what? I want to be pro at this, or I'm going to go for this. You have thousands of brain tracks of all these loving people that were great people, but they've created negative brain tracks in our mind. So
Uh,
we have to unwind that and come and say and recognize, I can, I will, I can, I will, I can, I can, I can. I will. I remember I had an I will statement I read one year for 365 days. I will do this. I will do this. I will do this. An I am statement. I am proud. I am strong. I am bright. I am a leader in my community. I'm a better husband. I'm a better father. Because I just want to pour it into my brain so that I can combat the 80-20 rule because 80% of our thoughts are negative, Mark. 80%.
I think though you need a little more passion. I mean, I want you to bring it this time, okay?
Sorry, do you get me pumped? Don't talk about brain games because I feel like I'm playing, mental ping pong with you.
No,
And
this is
I'm on it. I love it. I'm
me
jazzed.
too. I love it too, and I'll tell you, and you'll know this. I compare everything to sports analogies all day long, all night long, whatever. And whether it's a coach with a player, a parent with a kid, a boss with an employee, or whatever, the best ROI, for lack of a better term, the best return on investment, the best outcome you could get always is when you tell each of them with respect, maybe a little different with a younger person, but still with respect, what maybe decision you could have made better. I believe that you can do this, and you send them back out. Whether you send the kid to school, you send them on the field, you get them back in the work environment. That person will believe like your mother just hugged them type of deal, and they'll believe and be loyal to do anything for you, which is the ROI to the
Yeah.
parent, to the boss, to the coach,
Yeah.
and they remember it forever because not just the positive thinking, which is a big part, believing in them, but having the caring so much that you can talk to them straight about what's the best decision you could have made there or should make now and whatnot, which means you value them. You know, you're not just telling them to do something, you actually value them, which then makes them think they have value. And I have somebody who believes in me. So what you say hits home. In case you can't tell, I'm kind of passionate about what you said there also.
Yeah,
So
and you hit the nail on the head because you're not, when we just say, "Oh, that's dumb. Don't do that. I can't believe you did that." You're saying that is you. But you just said something powerful, Mark. You just said, "Look, next time this is the decision that we need to make that's better." You just detached, you pulled out of their soul that negative thing that happened and said, "You're capable of not doing it again. You're capable of living without it. You're capable of getting better." That event, that thing is not you. It's an event detached from you, and you are ever getting better, faster, smarter. You're throwing the ball further. Why? Because that's not you. That you just barely, what you just told me, Mark, is how you break down to the human brain, detaching events and things from an actual person being. Because
right,
I'm not an event, I am an ever changing, evolving, becoming human being. And when we can instill that into our children, our youth, our players, our people, and those that we come in contact with, then we stop thinking of these tough challenges as being us. Oh, that's just who I am. I screwed up. This is who
right.
I am. I can't throw the football. I can't get that fast. No. No, we're gonna get better. We're gonna get better. 1%, 1%. Boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, that consistency is a stone rolling. Nothing can stop it. Right? I mean, Kobe Bryant couldn't palm the ball, right? Oh, well, I can't shoot. I'm not good at free throws. You just haven't put in the work. Let's do this. How about you come in 30 minutes earlier every day for 30 days? Let's track how good you get. I have kids that I have three young boys that I'm mentoring. They're going to be in the NFL. I'm telling you, these kids are monsters. This is my best friend that I met. Their family adopted me so I could move to Hawaii. They're Tongan. Their dad was a pro rugby player. And I mean, this kid's 14 years old. He's also already 6'2", 180, 170 pounds. I mean, he's 14, Mark. This kid is a savage. And a year and a half ago, I started saying, "You are growing so fast in your career. Isn't it amazing?" And he's like, "Really, uncle?" Because everyone calls uncle. He's like, "Yeah, uncle." So I brought him over. We did dream boards. I said, what team are you gonna play for?" And I mean, we broke down. I've got a 14-year-old, a 9-year-old, and like a 7-year-old, and their eyes are just. And I take them in my office, and I have all these beautiful paintings. And I said, "These are some of my most amazing paintings. I collect art." And they said, "Really, uncle?" And I said, "I want to put, you see my favorite one up there, and you're going to grow to be one of my favorite." And they said, "Really, uncle?" and I got a Sharpie out and wrote the date, and I got a measuring tape out, and every time they come to my house, every 90 days we do brain games. They come over and I have them reading books and talking about their NFL career that's going to be coming and what high school they're playing for and all this stuff. I draw how tall they're growing. And I said, you have to understand you're going to make mistakes along the way, but nothing will stop you from growing. Nothing,
Yeah,
and
and and what
it's
you're talking
incredible.
about, yeah, what I love what you're talking about there is we're not defined by one event. We're not
Yeah.
defined by just being an athlete. In fact, I work with a lot of athletes now. We'll talk about it because we're doing this whole Generational Sports Science Fund program, and athletes are going to be allowed to making the investments, making being involved. And the thing they love the most is they're not just defined as athletes, or you're not just defined as a doctor, or you're not just defined as anything. You're a human on a journey, like you said. Because if you're just defined as one thing, it's not going to probably work out just if that's it long term.
What if you get hurt?
Exactly. That's the
What if you lose
point.
your money? Yeah, it has to be who you're becoming all round. It has to be impact. And that the greatest thing we can instill in others is impact. And I always coined, it's in my book. A lot of people say things like, "Oh, that guy's got FU money." Not in my life. It's called love you money.
Nice.
Because the more treasure you acquire, the more gifts, the more life that you can bring back, the more impact you can have with the greater treasures. There's two types of people in this world, Mark. There's those that use people to get things, and then there's people who use things to love people.
Yeah. I have a
And
friend of
I
mine
just,
who's doing a
yeah,
bunch of work in Bhutan, and they say something similar is most people, how does he puts it? Um, most people want stuff. Other people how does he put it? I can't remember, but it has to do with not valuing stuff, but valuing people is how it
yeah.
goes basically. And
And using the stuff to help people. Like
exactly,
I
that's what
can
we,
love people all I want, but if I am a good steward over $1 million, say, and I'm a good steward, and I say, okay, well, now I can take the treasures of that earth and I can sponsor certain kids for educational funds, missions, all these various different programs. We put two roofs a year on a family's home. We take 1% of our gross receipts and we put new roofs on Hawaiian homelands. These are homeowners that don't have insurance. I was at a house 2 days ago. We're going to be putting a brand new roof on and reframing their roof. They're a 150-year-old family. They can't afford it. And so it's just one of those things. We get donations and we do these programs and it's amazing. And man, I couldn't do that if I didn't have the financial wherewithal and I hadn't woke up at 5:30 every day for years on end trying to figure out my business and to where it would, because you can't, it's not like you can give up your whole where you're living. You have to be able to generate and be able to be focused on making that impact because no one, Mark, no one on their deathbed goes, oh, you know what? I wish I had another Cadillac or I wish I had another sports car. They don't. Why do these multi-billionaires on their deathbed donate to one incredible cause and give it all away?
yeah. Well,
Because
some of
it
them do it
doesn't
because
matter.
they screwed people their whole life to get the money, so that makes them feel good.
And whatever it might be, but they're not on their deathbed saying surround me with all my loved ones and I wish I would have spent more time at the office. It's usually the latter. It's usually like,
Yeah.
dang, I
Well,
didn't spend enough time with the ones that I love. And so I don't want to be that. It's impact, impact, impact.
there's there's more than two things. The two key things that I noticed right away is you're talking a lot about mental health along the way, and you're talking a lot about experiences, not even just years of experience, but experiences that we have that impact us. And it might be a crazy analogy, but they talk right now about how everybody takes selfies wherever they go, type of thing. And they think, well, I'll enjoy the experience because I'll be able to see it after where we were and all that. And you mentioned brain, the initial experience of seeing whatever you're seeing to take a selfie there, your brain has now missed it. You might get the experience post seeing what you just saw because you didn't really have your brain didn't really get the first instant of it. And that's part of whole mental health issue, the social media and everything that we're on, as well as, for example, valuing people, loving people, caring about people. And people know when it's authentic or not. If you just say, "How you doing?" "I'm fine. How are you?"
Yeah.
"Fine." That's not enough. You got to ask people, "No, for real, how you doing?"
Right.
Type of deal, because
Yeah.
you don't know what's going on. And I think it's brilliant. And I always see a thread, no matter what a background is of people, and you said it before, what experiences kids have. Um, will always lead to something else. That's too simplified away, but something else. But there's a couple of people along the way, whether it's your mom that went like this and said that, a couple of people along the way that make that experience, those experiences, good or bad by whatever definition. But like you said, you were happy um, that it didn't happen to you, but for you. Those people make it become experiences that you benefit from, like being accountable to have a business for your family and then help other people. Because without a certain people along the way, could have gone the other way. You could have been so pissed off that you did whatever you do, type of thing, when you're so pissed off the rest of your life. And we'll talk about it in a minute, but I believe that we're all influencers in our life, and a lot of times we don't know it. Like teachers, a lot of times they don't know what the impact's going to be, and it's our choice how we are going to influence people. Like planting a tree, you put the seeds in, we may never see the tree at full flight or whatever, but we do it anyway. So, um, kudos for that. How did you decide the roofing business?
Well, the first job when I was homeless and on the run, I got a job getting paid cash to scrape roofs. And so that was like my first job ever. And then I just got into general construction, built a masonry business, was a framer, did all kinds of trades, and kind of was a jack of all trades, but I was a master stonemason. And when the economy crashed, I moved out to here to Hawaii, and we got hit with a 50-year hailstorm, which is kind of ironic, hail in Hawaii.
Mm.
And a friend of mine's like, "Hey, you want to do a bunch of roofs?" And there was all these insurance claims, and people were getting their roofs paid for. So I jumped into the business, and I've been in roofing ever since. I love single trade, so it can be efficient and move forward with it. And so, yeah, that's kind of how I got into the roofing space. And yeah, it's just been cruising now. I've done over 10,000 homes in the islands, and I mean, I love it, but I'm probably going to be leaving the roofing business the next who knows when. But when I do, I want to be doing B7 full time. I love talking to individuals like yourself and public speaking. And right now, I next Wednesday. I every Wednesday I go to the lockup facility here with the Yokel youth, and I play brain games with them. I've got them setting goals. I got them because I it all started where they're at. I mean, they ignore me, and the minute I tell them my whole career started in a jumpsuit just like yours in a module, but it was module 12. Yours is module 6, and then their eyes light up. They're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah,
Well,
my whole world." Yeah,
sorry to interrupt, but you always, if you can relate to the person has more cred because they've been there, type of thing. So it does
yeah.
make sense. So you gave me a segue there. First of all, congrats on building that business. Congrats on, what's important about people having a roof over their home. It sounds so like a cliche, a comment, if you will, but if everybody has a base and they feel safe with a roof over their head, it means a lot to people.
Yeah, our slogan is looking out from above. FBC Roofing, looking out for above. And I believe one of the most said prayers in the human experience is, "God, thank you for the roof over our heads." And I love it. It's a protection. I love doing roofs for people, and I love providing that protection for families, and just it's a beautiful business, and I love it.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. Now I want to hear you talk about, becoming seven, B7. Can you tell us all about it?
Yeah, so I mean, growing up in a religious family, religious Christian family, Sunday was like you don't do anything but go to church. It was like you're getting water. My dad, man, he'll throw a cup of water on you if you're not up out of bed. Yeah, like my dad used to always say, mind over mattress," and I'm just like, mind over mattress. It's like, dude, my mind's saying stay in the
Mind
mattress
over mattress.
and stuff. I mean, this guy, my dad's a character, and so I just, man, I was so pressed in my mind, and I left the church. I didn't have anything to do with the church all the way till I was about 23. But um, I remember reading about, so growing up kind of with that, and I was always a little irritated, like, why is Sunday the only important day? And it was kind of fixated in my mind for years. And then I found out that more people have heart attacks on Monday, that's today, than any other day of the week. And it's for everybody. And it's not your ethnicity, your blood sugar, your cholesterol levels. It's not where you live on the planet Earth. It's literally Monday morning. Up, I don't know why I'm on the Earth. I'm gonna go ahead and check out.
Hmm.
Literally, because your brain runs everything else, and your brain and your heart are connected. So your heart fires off on the thoughts that you put into your mind, and your brain and your heart are so connected with this thing called love. And if you're not loving your experience, if you're not loving yourself and where you're at, then
Right.
your heart is under stress and then you kill over and die. And I was like, holy smokes, you're telling me everybody's dying on Monday morning? And I was like, yeah. I was like, wow, this is heavy, dude. And I was like, what? And then I was like, what if the human experience is tied to days of the week and there's this rhythm? If Bob Myers here called a rhythm, right? So then I just went down this rabbit hole over a decade long, and I started realizing there's different behaviors of the week. Like halfway through the week, people get foggy brains. So then it's intuition, it's Whisper Wednesday. And if you were to talk to first responders, they'd all tell you they have this calling, right? I believe the universe, God, when He calls someone to something, you qualified through the calling. If I raise my hand and say, you know what, I want to be a firefighter, or I want to be a doctor, or I want to be an airline pilot, all that training and hours and hours and hours of you going, I got a lot of people I'm responsible for. I got a lot of, you have a heightened sense of awareness and intuition. And
Hmm.
that's why doctors will be like, wait a minute, I'm getting a hunch here. This kid, next thing you know, x ray later, this kid's saved. It's on and on and on. But we, as the everyday human being, we're like just going through life like squirrel, squirrel, right? We don't take time to slow down and relax. And so that's how I kind of started figuring out this human experience. So Monday's Motivation Monday. What is your why? Why are you on the planet Earth? Because this is real. Okay, the average person, Mark, has 4,098 grandmas and grandpas. DNA inside them vibrating. That means you're in this diamond, this foundational diamond. It's eternal. All these people live so that Mark could walk and make a difference. All these people, then they're vibrating inside you and they wish for you, they pray for you, they made mistakes. We might have traits. I have traits for my ancestors I got to talk about when I get on the other side of the veil and say, "Hey dude, you gave me that anger attitude and I still love you." But you know what I mean? And we need to be better than the next generation. So we mean something. We're so important. Anyone who listens to this, you have to understand how important you are to this universe. That God saved you millions of light years for this little glimmer of time to make a difference. And the average person will affect 40,000 people in their lifetime.
Yep.
Imagine if you're just a little above average. Imagine if you're a professional athlete. How many
Yep.
people have heard about Michael Jordan and said, I want to shoot hoops one day?
Yep.
I want to fly like Jordan. Think of the millions. I mean, and that's a big scale, but the average is 40. And then you move into Tuesday, and that's tracking Tuesday. It's the day of the avatar. God gave us two ears, two eyes, and one mouth. Perform a miracle. Me to shut up. That's a miracle. Well, Tuesday's my shut up day, Mark. It's not today's. You got the whole mouth on me today. So, and we talked about this earlier, is 80, the average, you have 60,000 thoughts a day, and the average is 80% are negative. We got to turn that around.
Right.
And it's not the art, it's the art of awareness. Tracking Tuesdays, I'm going to track the way I interact with people, track my thoughts, make sure I'm absolutely living with intention of thinking correctly. Everything that I do, I can do better. Don't ever say, "Oh, I'm bad at memorizing names. I'm bad at shooting free throws. I'm bad at the three-pointer. I'm bad at the
Well, you'll
50
be
yard
right.
dash."
You'll be right.
Yeah. If you say you're bad at something or you say you're good at something, my dad used to always say, "Well, you're probably right."
Exactly.
I don't know what to tell you, dude. It's time to change my language and change my thoughts. So that's tracking Tuesday, Whisper Wednesday. We talked about Whisper Wednesday. That's a day of getting in an organic environment, walk on the beach, walk in the woods. I'm putting the phone down. If I have a phone with me, it's only symphony music. It's totally organized, loving, calmness. I'm not tuning into emails. I'm checking out for the first half of the day and I'm living by the whisper in the wind. I'm listening to my intuition. That's Whisper Wednesday. Yeah, the average person, if you walked up to 99.99% of everybody you walk up to for 5 months straight these days, and I'd say if you go back to our farmer days and all those grandma and grandpas we have, Mark, if you go back 200 years and say, hey, if you sat in a field today and just contemplated life, they'd be like, yeah, no, Dave, you know what? In fact, we've been here for a whole week thinking about life, right? Their whole so the society, the human experience is sped up so fast. We're just like fire hose drinking information and we don't slow down enough to just
You're right.
breathe.
You're
Work
right.
on your breath work. Just don't even think about anything. How about you just relax?
Boring's good sometimes.
Yeah. And you be surprised. You start getting this intuition, these little thoughts come to you, this little whisper, and you get good at listening to the whisper. So
Yeah.
that's Whisper Wednesday. Then we move on to Thursday. When's Thanksgiving? Well, it's Thankful Thursday, right? Gratitude. Okay. An army of lions led by a sheep will always be defeated by an army of sheep led by a lion. And the answer to that dichotomy is attitude. And attitude is the same word as gratitude. If you have an attitude of gratitude, say, it's possible. We got this. We got this. We got this. Every major disaster that was overcome, every major war that was won, every challenge ever overcome with a group of people, there was someone in the front saying, we came, we got it. There was a coach in a locker room that said, guys, pull your head out. Let's go. We got this.
There's the teacher. Oh no, where'd you go? We'll pause here for one moment. So let's go. We're on Friday.
Yeah, well, we're on Thursday. We didn't get
Oh,
forget. Let me tell me how many locker rooms. How
right.
many Washington? There's stories of Native Americans saying we couldn't kill him. His head held high. Bullets are zero, 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 zipping by him. Well, he wasn't scared in iota. He looked down the barrel of the gun, Mark, and said, kill me, for this is why I am here, to die for the cause, the samurai. How often does how many of the greatest football players that ever lived look down at their fractured shin in the Super Bowl and duct tape the thing back and look at everybody and go, "Give me more pain. I want more. I want more of it because in that pain, in that despair, in that dark land is where I will find my soul."
I love it. Can we move to Friday?
Now we move to Friday. So we got a high dopamine. You know what I mean? You're up on the upswing. You're living with total gratitude. You're super stoked. You've had intuition. You're combating the negative thoughts. What is the human experience, Mark? Friday is the day you used to get $1. You get a popsicle at the end of elementary school, and you'd be like, you're all excited, right? Well, one of the hardest human emotions is hanging on to stuff. So it's Forgiveness Friday. It's time, guys. Everyone right now, we have to understand collectively, let it go. The four most important acts of forgiveness: forgive your ancestors, forgive your mom and dad, forgive aunts and uncles, grandmas, grandpas. It doesn't matter what happened, it's just hurting you and you
Yeah.
keep reliving it.
Yeah.
Let it go. Be better. Be
Yeah.
better and love them and understand they were human too. They made mistakes. And even if they didn't recognize it, that's okay. It's only hurting you.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
The
100%.
number two, the number two forgiveness, okay, is continually forgive those around you.
Hmm.
That people are going to screw up. We're all human. Stop focusing on it.
Yep.
Number three, number three, forgive yourself. I'm a dummy sometimes. I act like a dummy sometimes, but I am not a dummy. I act
Not,
like it
we're
sometimes,
not
Mark.
defined by one event, right?
Exactly. We
Right.
talked about this earlier. Sometimes I make mistakes. I don't. I'm going to try to get better. I'm going to try to get better, Mark. I
Welcome to
promise.
the club. Welcome to the
Yeah. Yeah.
club.
Welcome to humanity, right? And
Yeah.
then the last one is the fourth one is say sorry if you actually did something wrong and it's recognized. Don't be overly apologetic because that's just not genuine. But if you make a mistake, say sorry and leave it at that. I live here in Hawaii. If I'm on a plane to the mainland and a plane back, there's an hour difference. It's the same plane, same pilot, same distance, same fuel, same altitude, maybe give or take a couple feet. But why is it an hour difference, Mark? Because it's a headwind and a tailwind.
Hmm.
The most high level effective humans don't hold on to stuff,
Yeah.
they let it go. Eagles don't hang around in pigeons. How does it? An eagle soars high into the sky and screams their future. Pigeons sit around and just sit there. They just sit and talk crap about the next guy. Oh, did you hear about what happened? You hear about that? So that's Friday. You got to live with forgiveness, man. I love that's one of my favorite days is
It is.
Friday.
F for favorite. There you go.
Yep, yep. F for favorite, and you're high on the weekend. What better time to figure out? I got to let this one go. And then so you move into Saturday. You're landing right into Saturday, and it's Satisfaction Saturday. And we talked about that earlier. No one on their deathbed wishes they spent more time at the office on Saturday. Make sure you're having fun with the ones that you love. Laugh. Like, don't be so
Yeah,
overly serious all the time, right? Like, can you just have fun on Saturday? Get the kids, just do nothing but just have fun.
exactly.
And so,
Exactly.
so
Laughter.
that
We need more laughter,
we
man.
need more laughter. Everyone's so hyper serious and afraid to be jokingly and act like a kid again. It's like,
Yeah.
who bred this seriousness out of us? Like, I want to find them. I'm like, I want to be a little kid again. My wife's like, I come home from work and my son looks at me. He's like, Dad, let's go on a burn. Talking about burning fuel. We jump on our pit bikes and I'm still wheeling my motorcycle down the road, just in our neighborhood. Me and my sons just having fun or going surf and ride dirt bikes, whatever. It's just like, have fun, please.
And having fun, spend time with those that you love. Spend
Yep.
time, not
Yep.
just money. All right,
Yeah.
Sunday.
Not just money. You just said something. These are the three M's. I didn't lay them on you before we were going to talk about it. We
Hmm.
make money. We make money for moments. So in the end, we have memories. Those are the three: money,
100%.
moments, memories. Money, moments, memories. I say it three times because there's three things to memorize.
Of
Okay.
course.
Moving on to Sunday.
Yeah.
Moving on to Sunday. Dude, I've been in jujitsu, Mark, now for 15 years. I'm a brown belt. I'm not a good brown belt, but I'm a brown belt. I'm a legitimate BJJ brown belt, and I mean legitimate because I've earned my stripes. And one thing I've learned, I haven't learned how to beat people up. I've learned to defend myself. But one of the greatest things I've learned from doing this, getting choked or Kimura or, an Americana, my knee bar, ankle, rear naked choke, collar choke, you name it, knee to the belly, my ribs being bust in half, a guy's knee in my kidney. I have a guy named Kling, guy rips me apart, world class black belt. You know what I've learned? I've learned to submit, Mark.
Hmm.
Submit. When you go to the UFC, what does it happen when they blow the whistle and it's over? It's all over. What happened? Someone did what? They submitted. And so that is supplication Sunday. I'm submitting. I'm going to my knees. I don't care who your God is, but you got to recognize the universe, whatever. There is a higher power greater than you that created you and knows you better than you know yourself.
We spend too much time arguing what to call it,
Yeah.
or I got a graphic on this once. It was God, Buddha, energy, universe, Mishkabibble, everything in the middle. And on one side, people were arguing what you call it. On the other side, people were changing their name to Mahatma Rainbow, but nobody is doing what they had to do and just embrace it, whatever you call it.
Just embrace whatever you call it. I don't want to argue with you your word is my word. I don't want to argue. I want to love you.
Right.
So how about you go pray to Muhammad and you go pray to Gandhi? I'm gonna pray to my God right here. I believe who he is, but the bottom line is all humanity stands tallest on their knees. All of us do. All of us stand taller when we recognize there's something greater than us out there that can help us if we just submit to it. So I want to submit on Supplication Sunday as my day to submit to a higher power, my higher power, whoever your higher power is. You need to tap in and tap in. That's it. So that's the day of the week. And what's cool about B7 is like I grew up in the personal development space because of my dad, and it was always 7 steps and 6 steps to this and 5 steps to that. But this is finally, after living this and watching it in people's lives, this is a personal development, human changing experience that once you live for 28 days, that's 4 consecutive weeks, 28-day program, which I have. I have a 28-day workbook that I like to give people and just monitor yourself. You can't ever forgive it. You can't forget it. It tattoos in your brain because that was the biggest thing is I couldn't remember. I was always like, what? Stephen Covey. I mean, I remember 2 out of the 7. And then I would listen to Jim Rohn and I was like, oh yeah, that's I gotta remember that. And then Napoleon Hill and then Earl Schoaf and then Marcus Aurelius. And my brain is like, all these squirrels are just high on caffeine running around in my brain, Mark, and I'm dying over it. I'm like, can someone organize this thing for me? Because it's Monday and I'm pissed. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
you know what happens sometimes, and this is definition, their team loses on Sunday, and that makes Monday going to work even worse. So we're defining ourselves even by whether our team won or lost the game.
yeah. And you're not even a player in the team. You have zero control over anything in life. And you're upset that a bunch of grown humans didn't perform. Talk about can we just be grateful that we actually have a team to root on? I
Yeah.
know kids that are starving to death in countries that I've been. I've been places in Russia where they live off of water from the ground and they these guys don't speak their own language and they
So that
build haystacks all day long.
So that leads me to my final question this time, because in LA we say that we got to leave them wanting more so we can do a sequel. I have a feeling we're going to need a sequel, but this is my last question for this, and I love you, brother. This is awesome. Um, with everything that's happened the last several years, we had COVID, we had, which sometimes feels like yesterday and years ago, all at the same time, and things happening in the world, and da 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 da. What are you most grateful for, and what are you most hopeful for?
I'm most grateful for knowing that every second that has passed and every second going forward, I can change, that I can be better. And that is truly understanding that each and every one of us during this human experience, that we can mold, we can bend future, okay? And it is so understanding. A lot of people think, oh, that opportunity passed, this passed. There's a magical thing happening in the bank of the universe that the minute you switch your brain to saying, I can, I will, I can be better, I can be better, I can be better, it's like this momentum comes behind you. And I'm so grateful for that because I just make mistakes, Mark. And knowing that there's another mistake I'm going to make ahead and not going out of my way to make them.
Good
But
move.
but understanding that I can be better and I can make an impact, that's just one of the greatest things that I'm grateful for is the opportunity to be better and have the agency to do that, the choice to do it.
And what are you most hopeful for?
And I'm most hopeful for the human experience to see things that were in technology and how fast things are moving. I'm hopeful for cures and diseases that we've never seen before. I'm
Mhm.
hopeful for the human experience for all of us to understand that we do make a difference and we have an impact in the whole human experience. And I'm hopeful that I'm going to be able to get rid of my roofing companies one day, and all I do all day long, Mark, is talk like I've talked to you, to human beings, because I can tell you God saved this little bald dude with scruff on his face millions of light years ago to come to the planet Earth and have this conversation with you right now. And I mean that to the depths of my soul, that I am on this journey 100% to bring the human cadence of becoming seven, the B7 superhuman rhythm, to individuals like yourself and all humanity, so they can be better, smarter, happier, enjoy life with more, have more joy with their loved ones, and be great. Because all the talent, majority of all the talents, and the majority of all the good ideas, they're in cemeteries across this world, who never stood up and said, I can do it.
Yeah,
So
that I
we're gonna
second
change that.
I second the motion. I would tell you, I think I'm grateful and hopeful at the same time that I have a new friend, number one,
Thank
and number two that you are a leader who cares and you want to make a difference, and you learn from experiences, and I think I know you're making an impact on a lot of people and continuing to. So way to be a leader who cares, and thank you for sharing on our Leaders Who Care series.
Thank you, Mark. You're a legend, and thanks for all the podcasts you do and the time that you set out, man. You're a legendary superhuman, and I'm good to have you as my bud now.
Thanks, man. Appreciate
Okay,
that.
aloha.